What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Although tonight, we're taking a look at a rabbi who says that the flat earth model is not stupid, and he has 5 reasons why we should take it seriously. They're not good reasons, but this rabbi has 5 reasons why we should seriously consider the flat earth model, and they're not good at all. Not one bit, but he does understand the reason why everybody accepts the globe model, although he doesn't really go to the more scientific reasons as to why we accept the globe model, but we'll get to that here in a minute. So if you heathens want to fuck around and find out what the 5 reasons are as to why we should consider the flat earth model and not determine it to be dumb, then please stay tuned. All right, but this is Rabbi Shmuel Pollen. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. I tried to. I wasn't trying to be derogatory or anything like that because his name's a little weird, but he's a rabbi. He's Rabbi Pollen. He's going to be telling us why, one, he understands. So Rabbi is going to be going through 2 reasons why the globe earth model is accepted, and then he's going to give you 5 reasons as to why you should doubt it. And so we're just going to listen and we're going to do what we do here.
A lot of people say that if something is stupid, it's as stupid as believing that the earth is flat. Now, I am not a flat earther. I do not believe that the earth is flat. I am an agnostic when it comes to this issue. I do not know if the earth is flat or if it is spherical.
See, I feel like in this particular topic, you can't sit there and try to ride the post, okay? And like be a fence sitter about it. The evidence for globe earth is substantial. And so in order for you to be like, I'm still agnostic about the shape of the earth, you have to forego literally all of the information that we have about the earth being a globe in order to sit on that particular fence. I feel like anybody that's like, I'm just agnostic on it. I feel like maybe they just were like, oh, I've always accepted this, but here are some good reasons that I think make sense. And they really don't. I don't think that you should sit on the fence about the shape of the earth. It's just not prudent to do that considering all the evidence that we have.
There are 2 reasons that I think it's spherical and 5 reasons that I think that it's flat. The 2 reasons that I think that it's spherical are because there are thousands of people working at an organization called NASA for 50 years, maybe 60 years now, maybe 70 years now, who are looking at space all the time and satellites and things like that. And not one has broken rank and said the earth is actually flat. You would think out of such a large group of people, at least someone would spill the beans and tell us the truth of what they see on their telescopes or what they see from their satellites and say that the earth is flat.
That's a good response, I would say, to the whole conspiracy theory that all of the space agencies are working together in order to hide the truth. That doesn't actually address the fact of whether or not the earth is a globe. I would not consider this to be a reason why you should consider the earth to be a globe. Like when I think of reasons why I think earth is a globe, I think of different physical facts about the earth. Like the fact that the shortest distance between 2 points on the earth is not a straight line, but it's a curved line because the earth is a sphere. We've also got, many pictures of the earth being a sphere. We've got a look at other planets. They are spheres. So it doesn't make a lot of sense that we would be this flat earth and everything else would be a sphere. Also, the way that gravity works and how static forces work in like the early solar system, all of that kind of compounds on it and proves that the earth is a sphere. Amongst the other like really old experiments, and I can't think of the names right now because I've been out of this particular discussion for the longest time. But there's so many old experiments that definitely prove that the earth is a globe. One good one is the fact that you can see boats going over the horizon on the oceans. There's a lot of evidence that like empirical evidence that shows that the earth is spherical. I would not actually say that, nobody's broken rank in this whole conspiracy. So, like, I feel like that's kind of poor reason to believe in a globe Earth. I think that's a good reason to not believe in a conspiracy amongst all space agencies, but it's not a good reason to believe in a globe Earth necessarily.
The second reason is because very smart people smarter than me, believe that the Earth is spherical, like Maimonides, who is from, I don't know which century, but he was, they say there was no one as great of a mind as Maimonides, going all the way back to Moses. From Moses to Moses, there was never one like Moses. Both of their names were Moses.
I don't know why any of this fucking matters. I mean, saying, oh, smarter people believe the Earth is a globe, so I guess I should believe that too. I really don't think that that's a good reason to believe that the Earth is a globe, because that's not actual empirical evidence of it. There's better empirical evidence for a globe than the reasons that he's giving here. So it seems to me like maybe he hasn't actually looked into the evidence of a globe Earth, like different measurements that you can take about the Earth being a globe, the shadow links in different areas of the world, that particular experiment, which it's bugging the shit out of me that I don't know this. Erasthenes of Cyrene. What he did was he took the shadow links of two sort of pillar structures, and he measured them, and then he could actually approximate the circumference of the Earth. Cyrenian said in 1968, Earthrise 72 blue marble. Most images taken by geostationary weather satellites and Discover images all show the Earth to be spherical. Yes, the actual pictures that we have of the Earth are far better evidence of a globe Earth than like the things that he's coming up with here. The Erasthenes experiment of the shadow links, where he was able to approximate the circumference of the Earth, that's a really good like piece of empirical evidence that you can point to for the Earth being a globe. We've known that the Earth was a globe since like the 6th century BCE. The whole flat Earth thing is such an old and outdated idea. It's only because of idiots that it's still rearing its ugly head.
Now, here are the reasons why I think it might be flat and why I'm agnostic on the issue. There are thousands of satellites supposedly circling Earth, and yet if you go to Google Images, you will find only a handful, maybe 5 images that are supposed to be real images of Earth, and in those images, the Earth always looks different colors, the continents look a little different. They're all different. Why don't we have images coming out all the time from these satellites? I mean, what are these satellites doing if not taking pictures of Earth? I mean, that would seem to be, one of the main jobs of a satellite. There should be pictures coming out every day, but there's not. There's some kind of hold on this. There's some kind of blockage, or somebody's holding back pictures of Earth.
Nobody's holding back pictures of the Earth whatsoever. So what he's saying right here is just not true. For one thing, satellites that are orbiting the Earth serve many different functions. A lot of them are radio satellites, and where they just receive transmissions and they broadcast them back out. You have the scientific satellites like the James Webb that just recently went up, and then there's the Discover satellite that also went up, which in fact, you can actually go to a NASA website and you can see daily pictures of the Earth. This is the website for the Discover satellite, the Epic Earth Polyochromatic Imaging Camera. It's their Epic camera. There's a calendar thing right here. You can go back and you can see it only misses a few days a month, maybe like 1 or 2 days a month they'll miss. But I mean, you can go back and we can go back February 18th, 2022. Look, there's the Earth, and we've got 13 shots of the Earth that it took that day. Oh, look, it's all of them. Now, he was concerned about how the Earth looks different in different pictures. And that's just because of the settings of the camera that's used, the type of camera that's used, the lens that's used, the way in which the lens even works, or the way in which the pictures are put together. Because there are some cameras out there that actually take pictures exclusively in a red filter, green filter, and a blue filter. And then they combine those 3 filters in order to give you a good image of it. And so, there are daily pictures of the globe Earth. You can see that it's a globe. You can see that it's rotating on an axis and everything. Saying that there are no real-time pictures of the Earth is just false. Now, to assume that every satellite that's in orbit, its job is to take a picture of the Earth, that's just ridiculous. And it just shows that you haven't actually looked into anything that's already out there. Sirnian pointed out in the comments that Discover is nearly 1 million miles away, 1.5 million kilometers. Yeah, it's actually at one of the Lagrange points is where it's at, I do believe. What the satellite does is it's actually in perfect sync with the Earth. As the Earth orbits around the sun, the satellite orbits around the sun in a perfect sync with the Earth, and that's why it's able to take a picture of the Earth. Yes, Lagrange point 1. I couldn't remember exactly which point. I just remember that it was at a Lagrange point.
Some have suggested that the quote-unquote real pictures of Earth from space are computer-generated imagery, made by a computer like a drawing. There is evidence to this allegation in the sense that in one of the pictures that's supposed to be real of Earth, a word in the cloud appears, and the word is sex. So somebody seems like he's playing a cruel game on us by putting forth a picture that's supposed to be the picture of Earth, and they're mocking us by putting the word sex in the clouds. And they think that we're not going to notice, but somebody did notice.
Okay, here is the picture that they are talking about. Okay, this is the original picture from NASA. Obviously, I got this from the Flat Earth Reddit, because that's where all this stupid shit is. So if you're wondering, like, oh, where's the sex part at? And the sex part is actually right here, the thing that they are interpreting as sex. Okay, so I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. Okay, so that's the part that they say says sex, and how they get there. And let me see if I can do this, because you can transform. Let's see, flip horizontal. Right, we got to play some kind of weird like flip there we go. So I had to flip horizontal and then flip vertical and then sex.
This is stupid.
Yes, honey, this is stupid. It's also a good example of pareidolia, and that's where just regular noise that's out there, just like stuff that's not in a pattern, appears to be in a pattern, and that's what you end up with. Right there is that. I mean, it's similar to seeing a happy face on the ass end of a helicopter, or like on one of those toilet protector dispenser things or something, or dick switches. Yeah, totally dick switches, honey. Oh, the Jesus light switch for the dick. Anyways, so that's what he's talking about with the sex in the sky and everything like that. Nobody's manipulating things. It's just a case of pareidolia. Now, he is talking about some images being edited or being computer generated or something like that. There are plenty of pictures out there of the Earth that are computer generated. Now, if he's talking about some of the more artistic renditions of the Earth, like there's one in particular that they love to point to about how the Earth was computer generated, or because it has to be, or something like that. I can't remember what that little line technically is. That's because of how they rendered it. And how they rendered it was like through various pieces of data that showed various things about the Earth. And so basically they just interpreted the data into a picture. Sirnian says the Blue Marble remake. So it's just the way in which the kind of data that was used in order to render the image. That's why it had to be computer generated. Obviously, this guy hasn't actually researched anything. He hasn't researched any kind of evidence about what pictures are out there, or what satellites are out there, or anything like that. So it's not all that surprising.
The second reason why I believe the Earth might be flat is because water is always flat. If you've ever had a cup of water, you know that the water always settles into a flat formation. And if the ocean has the same properties as the water in the cup, and I assume all water has the same properties, I'm assuming that the oceans have settled into a flat formation. And if the Earth is mostly water, that means that the Earth is flat.
So the reason why you perceive the water to be flat like that is due to gravity, and the fact that gravity sucks in, right, or whatever. The water is sort of quote unquote stuck to the Earth due to gravity, and over long distances you can definitely tell that there's curvature there. And the reason why this water curves like that is because of gravity. And also, to say that water doesn't curve kind of ignores like everything that we know about the physics of water. It's ridiculous. Right, honey? It is stupid. He didn't say level, but he did say flat, which still flat is kind of a relative term there. Well, because like I said, while you perceive it to be flat, it's just because you can't get a good enough angle like on it in order to see that it's curved. But also, if you go to the ocean and you zoom in on the horizon line looking out into the ocean, and if there are ships that are going into the distance, you can totally see the curvature of the earth because the water curves. Because as the ships go over the curve, you're not going to be able to see them at some point, and they slowly disappear. That cannot be explained on a flat earth model. Now, that doesn't mean they don't try, but it does mean that their attempts to overcome that fact are insufficient. And so it literally makes no sense the way that they argue against that.
If water's flat, then the ocean is flat. If the ocean is flat, then the earth is flat.
Well, but the oceans aren't flat. They're curved.
The other proof that I understand about why the earth might be flat is because you can see a building from Chicago over Lake Michigan. That's thousands of miles possibly, and it's much too far for a circular spherical earth, because from Chicago all the way over to Lake Michigan, to the end of Lake Michigan, if there were curvature, then the building would be well below the water line. It'd be well below it.
He said that Lake Michigan was thousands of miles long, or it's that like the particular shot that he's talking about of looking at the Chicago skyline is thousands of miles away. It's the total length of Lake Michigan is 300 miles, so it's only a few hundred miles. And the actual shot that he's talking about there, it's from Michigan looking over into Chicago, and that particular route is only like 60 some odd miles. The shot that he's talking about is easily explained by superior mirages. Basically, that's just where the conditions are right with the temperature of the water, the temperature of the air, and everything like that, and light being reflected off of the buildings and off of that skyline actually curves a little bit with the earth. And with the superior mirage, it's actually like curved and inverted or some shit like that. Anyways, look up superior mirage and you'll be able to understand what that is. But basically, you're able to see the Chicago skyline just because of the current weather conditions. And if you were to like stand there all day looking at the Chicago skyline, as the conditions in the air and the water change throughout the day, you would actually be able to see the Chicago skyline disappear and reappear and all that other stuff. He's wrong on multiple points here. Lake Michigan is at max 300 miles long. But the view that he's talking about is really only over like less than 100 miles across which the entire width of Lake Michigan is around 100 miles. It's like between, I want to say like 60 and maybe 70 miles or so that particular shot is. There's that distance problem, but also the fact that he's not factoring in mirages. He doesn't know how light works in the atmosphere and all that other stuff. My guess is that he doesn't even understand what refraction is. That's when light will actually sort of get refracted off of the atmosphere. So it might be going this way and then refract and go, a complementary angle way. You have to understand these very basic concepts in order to understand why you can see the Chicago skyline, but we have people that have figured these things out, so they're easily explained.
The fourth reason why I think the Earth might be flat is because no pilots and no railroad track engineers compensate for a curvature. They make their railroad tracks straight, and planes fly straight. Well, if you're on a spherical Earth, what's going to happen if your plane flies straight? It's just going to go off into space.
Why didn't we think of that before, guys? Why didn't we, when we were coming up with ways to get to the moon, why didn't we think, oh, hey, let's just fly a plane straight and we'll just go directly to the moon? What? Why is it that we had to come up with like rocket technology and shit in order to fucking get out of Earth's gravitational pull and then go to the fucking moon or get into low Earth orbit? Like, I don't understand why he would think that this is a thing. It's not like you've got to constantly point your nose down because you keep going up or something like that. As long as you keep it level, you'll keep flying at the same altitude. It makes no sense for him to say, well, you'll just fly off the Earth.
If you want to stay with the globe, you would have to bend the nose down a little bit to stay with the globe on a curved Earth. There are no such adjustments for curvature on railroad tracks or planes or any other transportation that goes over Earth. Anything that goes over Earth is always flat. So it must be that the ground beneath it is also flat. The fifth one is like going to be hard for you to understand because it's just so outside the box. It's just so different from your education. But if you can just step back from your education for a moment, consider the fact that the Earth is not falling. Now, why is that important?
In order to get this particular point, you just need to like forego all of your current education and then consider it. Forget everything that you've learned about physics and everything like that. And now this point.
If I take a ball and I let it go, it will fall. But the Earth is a ball, and it's not falling. So why isn't it falling? The only thing that makes sense in this scenario is that the Talmud says that the Earth is on foundations. There are like pillars holding up Earth, and God himself is holding up the pillars.
Oh, well, fuck, the Talmud says it. I guess it must be true. Also, this whole idea that if you drop a ball, why doesn't the Earth drop or some shit like that? For one thing, there's not like some supermassive structure that's beneath our solar system that would cause it to like fall that way. We are affected by our sun's gravity, and so we're in an orbit, which is like a constant free fall around the sun. And then the whole solar system in general is orbiting in the universe around that black hole at the center of it or whatever. And there's galaxies. I'm talking about the entire universe. It's swirling around a big black because there's right. Well, I mean, the solar system would be in the galaxy, and then the galaxy would be in whatever in the fuck else is after that. I don't know all the different stages until you get to the entire universe. And in the entire universe, everything is swirling around this black hole at the center. There's nothing that would cause the Earth to operate that way. And to say like, well, ball drop here, why no Earth ball drop? I feel like is a bit cavemanish. And then further to appeal to the Talmud in order to make your case, I feel like it is not helping you out whatsoever. Like, oh, well, you're putting up the Earth on stilts and everything, and God's holding the shit up. Well, fuck me. Would just throw out all this science and shit, like he said, in order to accept this.
That would make sense. That would not fall. But the fact that the Earth is not falling indicates that it is on pillars, not on a spherical globe that is just floating in the air.
If the Earth is resting on pillars, wouldn't we be able to empirically detect these fucking pillars? Like, I feel like that's a reasonable thing to expect. If there are pillars holding this shit up, we should expect to be able to observe them in some kind of way and have empirical evidence for them. They're fake pillars?
Faith.
Oh, faith pillars. They're held. The only reason why the Earth doesn't fall like a ball that you're holding in your hand is because of people's faith. As long as they got faith, those pillars are there. It works a lot like that fucking fairy from Peter Pan to Tinkerbell. Works like Tinkerbell. Everybody's got to believe. Everybody clap so that we don't fall into oblivion.
Before you discount an idea that seems stupid, you really have to examine, is this because of my upbringing? Is this because of what the media has told me? Is this because of other people that I've believed in have told me? They could have taught you wrong. And maybe it's not so stupid. You really need to look at things with an open mind, forget everything else that you've learned, and just be an open vessel, be a cup that can accept liquid.
Don't be a what kind of cup? Because that makes you a whore? A full cup. A full cup makes you a whore, by the way. Quote KC on it, all right? I don't want to be God's cum cup, okay? I don't want him to fill me up with whatever in the fuck he thinks God is going to fill me up with. Wow. God, everybody become God's cup so that he can fill it up with bullshit.
And examine it with a completely open mind, a completely unbiased mind. And I think you'll come to the conclusion that this is an issue on which we have to be agnostic, on which we have to be unsure of whether it's flat or whether it's round.
I'm not agnostic on it. Forgo all of your knowledge and then just believe what the Talmud says, because that's what happens when you have an quote unquote unbiased view of things. I don't think that's a good way to come to a conclusion.
There are convincing arguments to both directions.
No, there are not convincing arguments in both directions. No.
So I hope this teaches you, if anything, to be more at peace with others who have different opinions as you.
I mean, I'm at peace with, like, I'm not angry at flat earthers generally. Like the reasons why they give make me angry, and how idiotic and how stubbornly stupid they are angers me on occasion. I really don't think that being like, oh, this is a reasonable position to hold is really the way to go about it. Flat Earth is not a reasonable position. Most of the time, in fact, it's the flat earthers that are really like shitty and obstinate about this kind of stuff. They're the ones that are being like, you're an idiot for believing all that science and shit.
They may come from a different background, and you may come from a different background, and just because you think you're right and they're wrong, that's probably not the case.
No, I'm fairly certain that I'm right. Like, I get that I haven't been right this entire time, not 100% of the time on this show tonight. I get that. Usually with flat earth stuff, I get shit wrong. I'm fine with that. I don't expect to be right every single time I make a sly little comment. But what I will tell you is that I'm definitely right. The flat earthers are definitely wrong because of all the evidence. Maybe I can't, correctly communicate the evidence a lot of the times, but I know that they're fucking wrong.
They're probably both right in some sense and both wrong in some sense. So everyone out there, get along with each other. Understand that everyone has a different background, and you have a bias in that everything that you've learned is leading you to your opinion. You are not looking at it with a completely open mind. You are already locked into certain assumptions. And to be able to look at it accurately, you have to let go of all those assumptions, be willing to change your mind based on the evidence.
I mean, are you willing to change your mind based on the evidence? Because for one thing, for the globe earth, you didn't really provide any kind of evidence. And for another thing, you really didn't provide any good evidence for a flat earth. Well, yeah, he provided the top, which isn't good evidence. This guy hurts my brain.
So I wish us all a brighter, more peaceful world that is easier for us all to live in.
He sounds like a nice person. I mean, he sounds like he's trying to be nice. Yes, incredibly misled. So that's going to be it for his video tonight. For one thing, just to kind of recap here, I didn't really find anything all that spectacular about his video. His two reasons for believing the Earth is a globe were kind of shit. I think that he could definitely come up with some better reasons, more empirical reasons, more reasonable reasons. And then there's the list of 5 as to why you should be agnostic, or at least on the issue. And I don't think that anybody should be agnostic on the issue of the shape of the Earth. The Earth is very obviously a globe. From all different forms of evidence we have, it all points to a globe Earth. So there you go. Anyways, if you're leaving out right now, I really appreciate you stopping by and watching this. It's been a while since I've done a flat earth video. I had to dust off all my shit. And I know that I probably didn't explain everything perfectly right, but I'm sure Casey and I will work that out here in a little bit. But if you will, please go down below. Let me know what you think in the comments. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button? If you haven't smashed the like button yet, smash that like button for me. It'll really help me out. Casey smushed the shit out of it. Thank you so much there, Casey, for smushing the shit out of it. If you're going to be leaving out right now, I really appreciate you watching tonight. And I guess I will see you guys next week when we talk about some other crazy shit. And y'all have a great weekend. And don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.